The rule. I was 17 when my parents left me alone in the house for the first time. The house stood on the edge of town, too far from neighbors, too close to the forest. At night, it was so quiet that sometimes I could hear my own breathing echo in the hall. I had grown up there. I knew every creaking floorboard, every crack in the walls. Still, after sunset, the house never felt like it belonged to us. Before leaving, my father lingered by the front door longer than usual. He held his keys in his hand but didn't move. His eyes slowly scanned the hallway as if he were checking something invisible. "There's one rule," he finally said. I sighed. "Don't start with lectures." He didn't smile. "After 10-page M, do not open the door." That made me pause. "Not open it for who?" I asked. "For anyone," he said. "Even if it's me, even if you hear a familiar voice." My mother stood behind him, silent. She wouldn't look at me, her fingers tightened around the edge of her jacket as if she were cold. "Dad, are you serious?" I laughed nervously. "What is this? Some kind of joke?" "No," he said quietly. "It's not." He put his hand on my shoulder. "If someone knocks after 10, don't go to the door, don't answer, don't look through the peephole. What if it's the police, or an emergency?" "Then they'll call," he replied sharply, "and you'll hear sirens. Anything else is not what it seems." They left around 6 in the evening. The house felt empty the moment their car disappeared down the road, as if the warmth left with them. I tried to act normal, watched videos, made tea, let the TV play in the background, but the ticking clock on the wall was louder than everything else. When it got close to 10, I turned off the hallway light without really knowing why. 10:03 p.m. Silence. 10:11 p.m. I started to think my father had scared me for no reason. 10:17 p.m. Someone knocked on the door. Not loudly. Not aggressively. 3 slow, confident knocks. I froze. Then I heard the voice. "Son, open the door. It's me." My father's voice. Perfect. Alive. Exactly right. I took a step toward the door. And then his warning echoed in my head. Even if it's me. On the other side of the door, someone took a slow breath. "I know you're standing there." I stood frozen a few feet from the front door. My hand hovered in the air, halfway between instinct and fear. Every part of me wanted to believe it was really him, my father, standing outside, cold, annoyed, waiting for me to stop being stupid and open the door. "Come on," the voice said. "I forgot my phone inside. Just unlock it." Same tone, same impatience. Even the little sigh he always made when he thought I was overthinking. I swallowed. You said you'd be back in 2 days," I said, my voice barely louder than a whisper. Silence. Then a soft laugh. "Plans changed," the voice replied. "You know how work is." I took another step back. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A message. "Dad, do not open the door. Whatever you hear, it is not me." My heart slammed against my ribs. Another knock echoed through the house. Louder this time. "Why are you being difficult?" the voice asked. "I can hear you breathing." That wasn't possible. The TV was still on. The house was old, thick walls, heavy door, and yet my breath caught. Slowly, carefully, I leaned closer to the door, not touching it, not unlocking it, just listening. I could hear something else now. Not footsteps. Scratching, like fingernails dragging lightly across wood. "Dad," I whispered. The scratching stopped. For a moment, there was nothing. No voice, no sound. Then the handle moved. Just slightly. Down. Up. Down again. Locked. My legs felt weak. "Open the door," the voice said again. But this time, it was wrong. The pitch was off. The words were slower, stretched unnaturally, like someone copying speech they didn't fully understand. "Open the door." I backed away until my shoulders hit the wall. "I won't," I said. "I'm calling you." Another message appeared instantly. "Dad, good." Stay away from the door. Do not answer it. Outside, the voice sighed. A deep, irritated sound that no longer sounded human. I don't like when you ignore me, it said. The scratching started again. Faster now, sharper. I heard something wet press against the door, followed by a slow drag downward. Then the voice spoke one last time before falling silent. I'll wait. The house went quiet. Too quiet. I didn't sleep that night. And at exactly 10:17 p.m. the next evening, the knocking started again. I didn't leave the living room all night. Morning came slowly, like the house itself was reluctant to let the darkness go. I sat on the couch with my phone in my hand, eyes burning, every muscle tense. The front door looked normal. Clean. Silent. As if nothing had happened. I almost convinced myself it was stress. Almost. At noon, my parents sent another message. Mom, did it knock? I stared at the screen. Me. Yes. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared, appeared again. Dad, listen carefully. There are rules. We should have told you sooner. A minute later, another message arrived. A photo. It was a piece of paper, old, yellowed, written in my father's handwriting. Rules for the house. Never open the door after 10 p.m. Never speak to it through the door. Never look through the peephole. If it copies a voice you love, stay silent. If the knocking stops, do not relax. My stomach twisted. Me. What happens if I break a rule? The reply came too fast. Dad. Then it learns. That evening, I moved a chair in front of the door. Not to stop it, just to feel like I had some control. I turned on every light in the house. The shadows still looked wrong. 9:58 p.m. I stood in the hallway, staring at the clock. 9:59. 10 o'clock. Nothing happened. I let out a shaky breath. 10:06. Silence. 10:12. I started to relax. Then I remembered rule number 5. At 10:17, the lights flickered. The knocking didn't come immediately. Instead, I heard my name. Not from the door. From inside the house. Hey, a voice said softly from the kitchen. My mother's voice. I spun around. The kitchen was empty. My phone vibrated. Mom, do not move. Do not answer. It's testing you. The voice came again, closer now. I made your favorite dinner, it said gently. Come here. My legs refused to move. My throat felt tight. Rule number 2. Never speak to it. The footsteps started. Slow, careful, bare feet against tile. Then the voice changed. Why are you afraid? It asked, now sounding like my father again. You already talked to me yesterday. That wasn't true. I hadn't answered. I realized something then. It wasn't just outside anymore. And the rules weren't about keeping it out. They were about keeping me from inviting it closer. From the corner of my eye, I saw a shadow stretch along the kitchen wall. Too tall. Too thin. The front door creaked softly. Not opening. Just responding. And in that moment, I understood something terrifying. Breaking the rules didn't mean instant death. It meant something worse. It meant giving it permission. I woke up in my bed. Morning light. Birds outside. No blood, no cuts, no cracks in the walls. For a moment, I thought it was over. Then I tried to remember the night. There was a hole. Not blank, sealed. Like a memory wrapped in plastic and buried somewhere deep. My phone lay on the nightstand. Dozens of missed calls. From my parents. From numbers I didn't recognize. The last message sat at the top. Dad, if you're reading this, don't speak. Just listen. I pressed play on the voice message attached. My father sounded exhausted. Older. If you woke up thinking it's done, then it worked, he said. That means you're still you sometimes. My chest tightened. He explained what happens after the door. The thing doesn't take you all at once. That would be obvious. Too cruel. Instead, it shares. days for it, nights for you. Sometimes whole hours vanish, sometimes whole conversations, sometimes whole relationships. People will tell you that you changed, that you say things you don't remember, that you smile at the wrong moments. And slowly, you stop arguing, because it feels easier. I need you to understand, my father continued. We didn't survive it, we just became quieter. I looked around the room. Everything was normal. Too normal. That evening, at 9:59 p.m., I felt it wake up. A stretch inside my chest. A familiar pressure behind my eyes. Your turn is almost over, it whispered gently. I checked the front door. No knocking. No voices. Just the handle, already warm. I went to my computer instead. Opened a blank document. Started typing. Because this is the rule no one tells you. As long as you're being watched, it doesn't fully replace you. So if you're hearing this story now, if you feel uneasy, if you suddenly became aware of your own door, good. That means I'm still here. And it means it's waiting. After 10 p.m., listening. In a voice you trust. End. The knocking stopped immediately. Silence pressed in so hard my ears rang. Then the wall softened. Not melted. Not cracked. It breathed. The surface pulsed slowly, like skin over ribs. A shape pushed through from the other side, not forcing, not breaking. Just passing, as if the wall had always been meant to let it through. It stepped into my room. Fully. It looked exactly like me now. Same height. Same face. Same scars. Even the fresh cuts on my arms. But it moved wrong. Too smoothly. Like it didn't need joints. You remember now, it said. I shook my head. I never promised you anything. It smiled, and the smile hurt to look at. You did, it said gently, before you were afraid. The room shifted. Not physically, mentally. Suddenly I remembered. I was a child again, sitting on the floor. My parents arguing in the kitchen, my father yelling, my mother crying, the front door shaking with every slammed word. I had whispered into the dark hallway. I wish someone else lived here instead of him. The thing in front of me tilted its head. You were lonely, it said. You wanted quiet, safety, someone who wouldn't leave. I felt sick. I was a kid, I whispered. So was I, it replied, when I first knocked. I stumbled backward until I hit the bed. That wasn't a promise, I said. That was fear. It stepped closer. And fear is the only language doors understand. Its hand touched my chest. I felt my heartbeat slow. You let me in years ago, it said softly. Tonight is just the moment you stop pretending I'm not home. I tried to scream. Nothing came out. Behind it, the front door appeared, not physically but present, like an idea pressing into the room. The handle turned on its own. Once we finish, it said, you'll get rest. Its face leaned closer, merging with mine. I'll get the days, it whispered. You can keep the nights. The last thing I saw before everything went dark was my phone lighting up. A message, already sent. From me. Me. The door is open. I tried to leave. At sunrise, with shaking hands and a packed backpack, I stood in the hallway staring at the front door. Daylight spilled through the window, harmless and ordinary. I told myself the rules were only for night. I was wrong. The door didn't open. Not locked. Not jammed. It simply refused. When I turned the handle, my reflection in the metal wasn't mine. My face stared back, smiling too slowly. I dropped the bag and stepped away. That's when I heard footsteps. Inside the house. Slow, careful, bare feet on wood. I froze. The footsteps stopped behind me. A breath brushed my neck. Not cold. Warm. Alive. You feel it now, don't you? It said. Not in my ear, but inside my chest. I'm closer than before. I ran. I locked myself in the bathroom again, heart pounding so hard it hurt. The lights flickered, the mirror fogged instantly, even though the room was cold. A shape pressed against the glass from the other side. A hand. Human-shaped. The fingers bent the wrong way. I screamed as the mirror cracked, a thin line splitting my reflection down the middle. Through the crack, I saw its face. Not a monster. Not a shadow. Me. Older, thinner, eyes hollow and dark, like something had been living there for a long time. "It doesn't end with the door," it said softly. That was just the invitation. The mirror shattered. I fell backward, shards cutting into my skin. When I looked up, the bathroom was empty. But the cuts on my arms spelled words. Carved shallow, deliberate. Stay. I wrapped myself in towels, shaking, and called my parents again. My father answered this time. His voice was calm in a way that terrified me. "You saw it, didn't you?" "Yes," I sobbed. "It looks like me." He exhaled slowly. "That's because it doesn't enter houses," he said. "It finishes people." I asked him how they survived. There was a long pause. "We didn't," he said. "We just lasted longer." That night, the knocking returned. Not at the door. At my bedroom wall. 1 knock. 2. 3. Right next to my head. And for the first time, I knocked back. I woke up standing. Not in bed. In the hallway. Barefoot on the cold floor, facing the front door. My hands were at my sides, fingers twitching like they were waiting for a command. The clock on the wall read 10:06 p.m. I didn't remember getting there. I didn't remember the last 3 hours at all. My phone buzzed in my pocket. "Dad, where are you right now?" I typed with shaking hands. Me, hallway. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "Dad, listen carefully. Do not move." Too late. My right foot slid forward. I didn't do it. My body felt hollow, like I was watching myself through a screen. Inside my head, a presence pressed closer, heavy and patient. "You're tired," it whispered. "Let me drive." I slammed myself against the wall, trying to break the spell. Pain flared, real, grounding. The front door clicked. Not opening, just acknowledging me. My mother called. I answered without choosing to. Her voice was broken. "It's happening, isn't it?" I tried to scream, "No." What came out was a laugh. Low, warm, not human. "That's not funny," she whispered. Then she told me the final rule. The one they never wanted to pass on. Rule number 6. The last rule. When it starts moving you, you must not let it reach the door. If it does, you won't come back alone. I sobbed. "How do I stop it?" I begged. She didn't answer immediately. Then, barely audible, "You don't." The pressure inside me surged. My hand lifted, reached for the handle. I grabbed my wrist with my other hand, nails digging in until blood ran. The thing inside me screamed. The lights flickered. The door shook, just once, like a heartbeat. Suddenly, everything stopped. My body went limp. I collapsed to the floor, gasping. Silence. No knocking. No whispers. I lay there for hours, afraid to move. When morning came, I checked my phone. A single message, sent at 3:11 a.m. From my own number. Me. Thank you for trying. In the reflection of the dark screen, I saw something move behind my eyes. It smiled before I did. I woke up standing. Not in bed. In the hallway. Barefoot on the cold floor, facing the front door. My hands were at my sides, fingers twitching like they were waiting for a command. The clock on the wall read 10:06 p.m. I didn't remember getting there. I didn't remember the last 3 hours at all. My phone buzzed in my pocket. "Dad, where are you right now?" I typed with shaking hands. Me, hallway. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "Dad, listen carefully. Do not move." Too late. My right foot slid forward. I didn't do it. My body felt hollow, like I was watching myself through a screen. Inside my head, a presence pressed closer, heavy and patient. "You're tired," it whispered. "Let me drive." I slammed myself against the wall, trying to break the spell. Pain flared, real, grounding. The front door clicked. Not opening, just acknowledging me. My mother called. I answered without choosing to. Her voice was broken. "It's happening, isn't it?" I tried to scream, "No." What came out was a laugh. Low, warm, not human. "That's not funny," she whispered. Then she told me the final rule. The one they never wanted to pass on. Rule number 6. The last rule. When it starts moving you, you must not let it reach the door. If it does, you won't come back alone. I sobbed. "How do I stop it?" I begged. She didn't answer immediately. Then, barely audible, "You don't." The pressure inside me surged. My hand lifted, reached for the handle. I grabbed my wrist with my other hand, nails digging in until blood ran. The thing inside me screamed. The lights flickered. The door shook, just once, like a heartbeat. Suddenly, everything stopped. My body went limp. I collapsed to the floor, gasping. Silence. No knocking. No whispers. I lay there for hours, afraid to move. When morning came, I checked my phone. A single message, sent at 3:11 a.m. from my own number. Me. Thank you for trying. In the reflection of the dark screen, I saw something move behind my eyes. It smiled before I did. I didn't remember carving the words. But my hand ached. Deep in the muscle, the kind of pain you get after forcing it to do something it didn't want to do. I stood staring at the door for a long time. The letters were uneven, desperate. Scratched so hard the wood had splintered. You opened it. I checked my phone. There were messages I didn't remember sending. Me, 2:14 a.m. It's inside now. Me, 2:16 a.m. I'm sorry. My stomach dropped. I called my parents. No answer. I called again and again. Finally, my mother picked up. Her voice was shaking. "You don't remember last night, do you?" "No," I whispered. "What did I do?" She didn't answer immediately. Then she said, very quietly, "You talked to it." The room felt like it tilted. She explained that around 2 a.m. they received a call from my number. I wasn't crying. I wasn't scared. I sounded calm. Wrong. I told them I'd let it explain itself. That it had been misunderstood. That it only wanted what was promised. "What promise?" I asked. My mother started sobbing. "You don't remember," she said. "That's how it starts." She told me the next rule. A rule they had prayed I would never need. Rule number 4. If you lose time, do not trust your memories, especially the good ones. That day, the house felt occupied, not haunted. Claimed. I found fingerprints on the bathroom mirror, pressed from the inside, as if someone had leaned close to inspect their own reflection. They weren't mine. I covered every mirror with sheets. That night, I dreamed while awake. I was standing in the hallway, watching myself sleep through my bedroom door crack. There was something behind me, breathing softly, patiently. I felt it smile without seeing it. I woke up screaming. My phone buzzed. "Unknown number. You said I could stay." I threw the phone across the room. Another message came instantly. "Unknown number. Do you want to see what you forgot?" My hands shook as I typed. "Me. Leave me alone." 3 dots appeared. Then an image loaded. A photo. Taken inside my house. From the hallway. Of me. Standing at the front door. Hand on the knob. Smiling. Behind the glass, reflected faintly in the dark outside, was my father. But his eyes were black. And his mouth was open too wide. I collapsed to the floor, choking on air. My phone vibrated one last time. Unknown number. Next time, you won't stop yourself. I finally understood the real purpose of the rules. They weren't to keep it out. They were to slow down the moment when I stopped being me. That night, nothing happened. No knocking. No voices. No footsteps. I didn't trust it. I sat on my bed with the lights on, door locked, phone clutched in my hand. Midnight passed, then 1 a.m., then 2. My body screamed for sleep, but my mind refused to let go. Around 3:30 a.m., exhaustion won. When I woke up, the room was dark. The lights were off. I froze. I always left them on. My phone buzzed on the bed beside me. Dad, did it come back last night? Me, no, nothing. There was a long pause. Mom, that's not good. I sat up. Me, what do you mean? Mom, the quiet nights are the worst. She explained in short, panicked messages. It didn't knock every night. Sometimes it waited, watched, learned routines, learned fear levels. And sometimes it pretended to leave. That day, I noticed things were wrong in small ways. A chair moved slightly from where I left it. A door half open that I remembered closing. The faint smell of my father's cologne in the hallway. I kept telling myself it was stress. That evening at 9:40 p.m. the power went out. The house dropped into darkness. My phone flashlight cut through the hallway like a blade. The front door stood at the end, silent and solid. 9:58 p.m. I stood there again, heart pounding. 10 o'clock. Nothing. I almost laughed. A dry, broken sound. Then my phone vibrated. Mom, is the power out? Me, yes. 3 dots appeared. Mom, do not use the door for any reason tonight. I swallowed. Me, why? No answer. At 10:11 I heard crying. A soft, broken sob coming from behind the front door. A child's voice. I'm cold, it whimpered. Please. My chest tightened. Then it said something that made my blood run cold. Please, you promised you'd help me. I had no memory of that. But my body reacted like it was true. The crying grew louder. My hand moved on its own. I touched the doorknob. The metal was warm. Too warm. My phone buzzed violently. Dad, step away from the door. I jumped back, gasping. The crying stopped instantly. Silence. Then a whisper, right behind the door. Too late. The handle turned. Not fully. Just enough to click. I screamed and ran, slamming myself into my bedroom and locking the door. My heart felt like it would tear itself apart. Minutes passed. Then, hours. Nothing happened. In the morning, the power was back. The front door stood exactly where it always had. But something was different. On the inside of the door, carved deep into the wood, were 3 words. In my handwriting. You opened it. And that's when I realized the final truth. It didn't need the door open. It just needed me to try.